You guys must have had something similar to this.
Yeah, with communication. So, but first,
Communication.
uh, I'm sorry, you haven't answered
Yeah,
the
the
second
second
part of
part,
the
the second
question,
part. Yeah,
which is you're in a situationship.
yeah.
What's the next stage after a situationship? Is there a relationship, or does it break up without communication? Is there a communication at some point where you say this is now over, or what? Because that really blows my mind.
Well, in I guess the next step is in theory is the relationship. So it goes situationship and then relationship, and that would kind of go with just asking the other person if they want to be in a relationship. So it's kind of like a flow diagram, where you have the situationship. You ask the question, if yes, then you're in a relationship. If no, then well then I don't know what happens there. Then there's many different options after that. But generally, I guess the biggest part is then you kind of just break things off there, and it's like, oh, there are things up,
Okay.
it's and that's where the heartbreak happens. And
Right. So there's heartbreak. There are feelings involved, right? You're allowed to have feelings, right?
yeah, I mean, that's the thing is most of the time there are feelings, and people end up getting heartbroken, and it's just generally a disaster.
I don't know, man. You asked me a question, but just questions keep on coming up to my mind. Okay, so you're in a situationship. You're not allowed to talk about it, but you do talk. I mean, you do talk, right? With a person. You don't just like look at each other and hold hands and walk around the park and then go home without saying anything. You do talk, right?
Yeah, honestly, it's a
Okay.
normal. Okay, okay. Let me kind of clear things up.
Yeah, please do.
You're basically doing everything that you do in a relationship most of the time,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
yeah, you're doing everything you do in a relationship. So you're talking, you're going on dates,
Yeah.
you're having sex, you're whatever, you're kissing, you're holding hands, whatever. But you're just not calling it a relationship because some people are scared of commitments and labels. So
Yeah.
I guess a way to protect themselves from that is to not call it anything. But then normally this is like this blows up in their own face type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine. So, okay, that I get. Um, but you're not even the unspoken rule is that once you start getting into a situationship or once you, you I'm sorry, it's just that I'm a little bit confused here. So you
Okay.
you start talking to somebody, a
Mm-hmm.
boy or a girl or another boy, another girl, whatever. You feel attraction,
Mm-hmm.
and attraction seems to be mutual. And eventually you kind of get together. Would be like maybe you end up holding hands at one point, or um if it's online, I don't know how that happen. Anyway, um I'll ask you about that later. You end up getting together somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But the unspoken rule amongst your generation is that at no point you actually mention the word getting together or anything like that. Right. At that moment, you are in a situationship until one of the two asks whether you should turn it into a relationship. Is that pretty much in a nutshell?
Yeah, basically. the first time I asked her out there, I was shooting bricks.
Right.
Which that's a story for another episode. For one of the episodes, this series will probably be about how do you start.
How you start a relationship. That's well after a situationship, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Okay. Well, it's been very interesting. I feel a little bit more enlightened. I kind of understand it, and I can understand what problem it's trying to solve, but I don't think it's actually solving the problem because
mhm.
I'm not really sure it is a problem.
Yeah.
I think humans are we have it's survival of the fittest. We have to find the correct genes to keep the gene pool going and to evolve, right? And the only way to do that is to find a partner that suits you, right?
Mhm.
So things are never going to be perfect. So it's better to just find that from the very beginning is like, hey, I think you're hot. Do you think I'm hot? Should we just start something or not?
Yeah.
Or not, or say, hey, I think you're very smart and intelligent. Do you think I'm smart and intelligent? Should we start something right now or not? And just get it over and done with like the second day, and then the doubt's over and then you can continue looking in the gene pool to see if there's something more compatible.
Yeah, that would be easier, but
Right.
that's
Okay.
that's not gonna happen, and that won't happen. But I hope you understand or you okay you grasp the idea of a situation better, even if you don't fully get them or understand them or the reason for them.
Yeah.
Um,
That's exactly what I do. I get the meaning now. I see what it's trying to do. I'm not quite sure I understand it fully though. I have to admit, I'm sorry. I feel really, really old right now, but
that's that's fine. That's fine, my dude. I mean,
Brett,
you can't always see eye to eye with everything, can you? And
no, I
that's fine.
can't. So that's a good episode. I think it's a good point to stop it there. What are we talking about in the next episode, in the next episode of the series?
Well, to next episode, we're going to fast forward in the relationship and forget all the relationship and the beginning and when to ask, and we're going to go straight to the end and talk about if you can be friends with your exes and
Oh,
that whole debacle, I suppose. Um,
that's a good one.
so thank you very much for this conversation about situationships, dude. I'm glad you grasped the understanding and the meaning of it better. And yeah, do you want to say anything before we sign off properly?
Nothing. Let's go talk about friendships after a relationship.
Sounds great. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. If you agree or disagree with anything we said about situationships, let us know down below. Maybe talk about and say your own experiences with situationships. We'll definitely be reading them if you do. Leave a like and subscribe, and see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.